Hello all. It is Wednesday. It is 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'm getting a jump on this because I wanted to make sure before everyone got here that I was able to explain to you joins. I might do, depending on who shows up, but there's other things I want to talk about when everyone was here. So I'm just making sure that I get to this about the joins because it's a very, it can get very confusing, very complicated. I want to make sure you get some examples of how joins work. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about right now is specifically, I'm going to talk about cross joins. I'm going to talk about inner joins. I'm going to talk about subquerying tables on an inner join and how to use inner joins to produce a result set based on match between one or more columns. And so I'm going to talk about these here. Okay. I've got the queries written already, so we're just going to go through them real quick. Should have about 10-15 minutes. And then the next time I'll stop the recording and then I'll pick it back up when people come at 9:30 my time. But I want to get this done. Now, again, let me please remind you that the book is only part of what we're doing here. These PowerPoint slides, you need to look at them. But whenever you see a web page or a link here in the reading assignment, read that. This MySQL join on tutorial web page is an excellent resource for learning how to do joins. It is absolutely brilliant, and you definitely need to look there. Okay, so let me go ahead and go to the code, and we'll talk about the code that I've written to demo joins for you. And again, as with all things with this, you know, when we look at the tables and look at the schema there, I'll kind of give you some ideas. You know, start challenging yourself on writing some queries. You know, try to get the information specifically out there that you want to find. I'll give you a couple of examples, and so we'll go from there. Okay, so here's my code. Okay, so the first thing we're talking about is what's called a cross join. It was also called a Cartesian join. So this is a join that we never use. It's there. I have to show it to you. I'm contractually obligated to tell you what this join is. However, I encourage you to not use it because what this join does, it literally, so it takes, let me get rid of the first name column here and we'll show it better. It takes the first column, the first entry in the first row in the left table. Oh, by the way, so for purposes of organization, this table is on the left, this table is on the right. That's just the way it is. Learn it, love it. This is the left, this is the right, because if you had flattened it out, that table on the left, that right. Okay. So what this query does, it takes the first column, the first row in the first column that you're asking for and matches it to every column in the second table. So the first last name here will pair up with every address. The second last name will pair up with every address. The third last name will pair up with every address. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here's Abney, and Abney is pairing up with everything. Okay, and we get down the next one. I forget what it is. There's a lot of names, a lot of addresses. Okay. Oh, I've only got the first. No, it should be. Oh, the first 2,000. Okay, keep going down. See, and then Adam. Adam. Okay, Adam. It here pairs up with every column. Now, what this does is it causes a huge explosion of data. There aren't that many rows in this table. Let's see what we have 50,000 rows. We shouldn't be getting 50,000 rows. That's a lot, right? So that's what this does. It literally pairs up the first column, the first row, the first column in the left table to every entry in the column, in the address column on this. So if there's 3,000 addresses in the address column or in the address table, that last name will pair with all 3,000, the next one, so there'll be thousands and thousands of tables. Okay, so that's what that does. That's what a Cartesian join is. If they talk about Cartesian joins, Cartesian means numeric in nature, I believe. Yeah, it's Descartes. It's all because of him. Rene Descartes. He was a philosopher. Was he a mathematician turned philosopher or philosopher turned mathematician? I don't know, but he was the guy who came up with the phrase, I think, therefore I am. So that's who he was. Anyway, that's what this is about. The next one is called an inner join. Now, I think we're only really going to talk about inner joins right now. We'll talk more about, we got right joins and left joins and full joins later. But here we're just talking about inner joins. Inner joins, we take two tables and compare them on a column that has similar data between the two, like a last name column, an ID column. Generally, you will compare them on a foreign key column because you know that's going to be the same. But I think later on I do one that's not on a foreign key column. Okay, so here, select last name, first name, address from customer, inner join address on the address ID, order by last name. So let's look at the anatomy of this first. Okay, so we've got select A dot last name, A dot first name, B dot address. Okay, so why do I have these letters here? Okay, so if you're going to do multiple tables in a query, you've got to let the engine know what table the column comes from. Now, if the tables have no columns in common, nothing's going to happen. SQL's gonna be the engine's going to be able to figure that out without a problem. However, if both tables have a last name column, if both tables have a first name column, and you don't specify which one, you're going to get, I believe it's an ambiguous column error because it doesn't know which column you're telling it to get it from. Okay, so so here I select A last name, A first name, B address from customer A. So what I've done here is I've told the engine from here on out, when you see the letter A by itself, I'm referring to the customer table. When you see the letter B by itself, I'm referring to the address table. Okay, so you're aliasing the tables for ease of typing. So you don't have to type customer.last name, customer.first name, address.address. Okay, so that's what that is. Here we're telling the engine what to join on. We're joining customer on the left with address on the right, and this is the column we're supposed to join it on. We're saying show me where address ID in customer matches the address ID in address, and then order it by last name. So we run that, and we only get 599 rows. So when I ran this Cartesian join up here, the cross join, I got over 50,000 rows because I stopped it at 50,000. Here, I only get 599 rows because that's all there is. Okay. This query will only return where these two match. So if there's an address in your address table that doesn't show up in the customer table, or a customer in your customer table that doesn't show up in your address table, they're not going to come. They're not going to show up. They're not going to be there. Okay. This only matches. You know what? Let me do this real quick too, because I didn't start it out this way. I should have. So let me just, where is what I want? I don't normally do it here. Oh, here, share. Oh, I'll just do it in Paint. Hang on. MS Paint. Okay. That's fine. I'll just do Paint. Okay. So what I'm talking about is this. If you remember back to second grade, we used to use things called Venn diagrams, right? And it was just one circle and one circle. Okay. And like this would be, you know, addresses, and this would be customers. So when you do this, okay, so let's say this is addresses. Actually, this is customers because it's on the left, and this is addresses, right? This area is what returns in the inner join. Okay, this is the area that returns in the inner join, just where those two tables meet on the address ID. It's all about Venn diagrams. As we get to the right and left joins and full hour joins, everything else, I'm going to use Venn diagrams to explain those too. So I'll just leave that away for right now. Okay. So there's that. So here we go. Now, let's say I want to join on multiple tables. I can do that. Let's look at the anatomy of this one. Select last name, A first name, B address, C city from customer A, inner join address B on address A address ID equals B address ID, inner join city C on city ID as it matches the address table, and then order by last name. So now our Venn diagram got a little more complicated. We've got another circle in here. Circle, there it is. Another circle, boom. And that's city. So now it's this part that matches. Okay. You can join a lot of tables there. I want to say at one point in time there was a limit. I don't know if there's a limit anymore, but I don't suggest going more than 3 or 4 tables, because it's not that, well, first of all, the engine's going to hate you because it's going to be using up a lot of memory to do this, but also writing it gets really, really confusing. So let's take a look what this returns. Okay. Raffle Abney, Markova Place, Talavera. And then, so we've done, it's the same results. We just added city to it. So when you're designing tables, and we're going to talk about this more later later in this video, we're talking about designing tables. You want to be able to get the data out in such a way that people can understand it, because we've got an address table, we've got a customer table, we've got a city table, we've got a country table. So we've got all this information in 5 or 6 different tables, and the end user is not going to be able to understand what that is. So we've got to present a query and give them the results of that query so they can understand the data and it makes sense to them. Okay. Next one here. Oh, this is a long one. Okay, so here we go. So now I'm getting I'm selecting the last name of the customer, the last name of the staff member, the title of the film, when it was rented. So I'm finding out what customer rented what movie from what employee on what date. Okay. So Hardier, staff name is Hillier, active dinosaur, and these are the dates. Apparently, this is a very popular movie. Okay, so these are all the movies that were rented and when they were rented. Okay, this is the whole point of this. I mean, you could you could write a query, for example, like what genre, where is it? It's not genre here. It's what film category is rented most in the month of November, right? So it's a very complicated query, but you could write that. I'll owe you that one. I'll show you that one next week. Okay. What film category is rented the most in the month of November? Which one is rented least? Right? Because maybe you want to know, like maybe rom-coms don't do very well in the month of July. So you want to run a special on rom-coms. Rent 2, get 1 free or something, right? Which actor do we have the most films in stock from? Which actor did movies in Spanish? Which rental staff brought in the most money in the month of November, right? So all these things are possible through writing these queries, which is kind of what you need to do. So let's look at this next one here. Okay, this is a simple one. This is a simple one here. So the other thing you need to know is that the column you're joining on, well, you already know that. So here, so this one, select last name, title from actor, inner join film actor on actor ID, inner join. So I'm doing a subquery. So I'm doing an inner join on a query here. So my inner joining, select star from film where rating equals PG. So I'm seeing what actors are in movies rated PG and rated PG. I could just do from inner join actor, inner join film, and then do a where clause in that, but I'm just showing you how to do. So the inner join here does not have to be a table. It can just be a query. Okay. Let's see what results we get from this. There we go. Okay. So all these are all PG rated movies that these actors were in. Okay. So as long as it's in parentheses and it's a select query that works and you alias it, and whatever column you're using to match on works. So here matching film ID and film ID. So let me talk real quick about this film actor table situation. So we've got a table of all the actors who've portrayed movies, who's been in movies we have to rent. We have a list of all the movies. There is more than one actor in a movie, and there's more than one actor in a movie, and an actor has been in a movie can have multiple actors. So when we have those two tables, become a many-to-many relationship. So there's many actors in many films, and many films have many actors. So we need to create a what I call a bridge table that connects the two tables so we can not have repeating data. So here I've got a film actor table, and the only columns in here are an actor ID, a film ID, and the date is last updated, and that's it. Okay. And you look at the film table, I've got film ID and so on and so forth. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, where's the primary key? Because we know in film table, film ID is the primary key. In the actor table, the actor column is the primary ID. In film actor, I've got actor ID and film ID. I can't have actor ID be the primary key because it's going to be duplicated all over the place. I can't have film ID be the primary key because it's going to be duplicated all over the place. We can, however, have both of these be the primary key. A primary key can have, I want to say up to 3 columns can be the primary key. Okay, so up to 3 columns will be the primary key, and as long as the combination of the two is unique, it's fine, because remember, primary keys have to be unique. Okay. Another cross join. We already talked about what cross join does. I think these are just repeats of the previous ones that I showed. Yeah, these are just repeats. I just duplicated these out. I don't know why. Apparently I did it several times. Okay. So that covers everything join wise about joins on these tables. So like I said, as you're looking at here, look at what I said before, what customers have rented, show me a let me see if I can write this one real quick. Let's see. Okay, let me write one on the fly for you. I want to do, how do I do this? So I'm going to inner join film as F. This may or may not work. I'm not sure. I'm risking. I don't like to write code live because always something goes wrong. Inner join. I'm gonna do a from actor. Let me do this one. Inner join from film. Let me do this. Let me steal this here because this is kind of what I'm going for here. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna repurpose this, but we're gonna make this film because I don't want to deal with the. Okay. Film. Okay. And then I want to inner join film category. Okay. Film category. Okay. And what I want to do for my select statement is I want to do select actor, last name, a dot last name. FC dot category. Oh, shoot. Okay. Hang on a second. I just realized that. Okay. And then I've got to inner join. Inner join category. C dot name. Okay. And then I want to do this. I would change that to C. Okay, so we're joining the actor to the film actor table. We're joining the film actor table to the film table. We're joining the film category table to the film table. And we're joining the category table to the category. So now what I want to do here is I want to do count F dot title. Okay. Now make sure I got this. So theoretically, what this should do, if I did this right, it should be the last name of the actor, the genre of the film, and how many films they made in that genre. I don't know if this is going to work. Error is an error. C.name and field list. Oh, see, I didn't put the alias there. That's why it broke. Put the alias there now. Lola Brigida. So I'm not sure that that's right. I'm pretty sure that's not right. But anyway, you kind of get the idea of what I'm trying to shoot for here. Let's see if I figure out why this didn't work. So that is fine there. That works fine. Yep. Let me do this here. Let's try this. Let's see where this shows up here. Okay. Okay, so this goes correctly. So this shows me, oh, I know what I did wrong. Does anyone know what I did wrong? Anyone? Anyone know what I did wrong? I'll give you a second. I forgot something very important from 2 weeks ago about this. What did I not put in here? I didn't do group by. See, I always forget something when I do this on the fly. Remember, if I have an aggregate function in a select column, everything else must be in the group by column, or the group by clause. And look at that now. That makes way more sense now. Lola Bridget done 3 action movies. McQueen did 3 action movies. There we go. And we scroll down, animal movies. Okay. Okay. So now I know. I know Voight has done 2 animation movies and Peck has done 2 animation movies. I can do the same thing if I want to do, you know, what ratings they're in or anything like that. So, oh, and here, see how like, I think I told this before, but see how it's like last name, and then here it's count F title. We don't want there. Do as count of film count. Okay, there we go. And that again. There we are. Okay, that's better. Okay, so take this, run with it, play with it, show me. I will give, let's see, I will give 10 extra credit points on either the final exam or the final exam, or wherever you need it. I will give 10 extra points wherever you need it. For anyone who shows me a random query that they made, either one that I mentioned in this clause, in this thing, or one you come up with yourself. You know, what's the favorite payment method of people who live in Wisconsin? What's the favorite movie written by people in Wisconsin? What's the favorite category of movie rented by people whose first name is Bob? So anything like that. 10 extra credit points to anyone who writes me a query. I will put these queries in the announcement when I send it. And I'm going to pause now and I'm waiting for people to show up so we can talk about other things.